Do you ever notice how, like, everyone keeps saying family court's biased against men? And you sit there thinking, I mean, I used to think it, you sit there thinking, yeah, bloody is. But then people start explaining why, and that's where it all goes sideways. Because some lads, hurt, frustrated, angry, start reaching for this idea that maybe it's because we're superior beings, stronger, tougher, more logical. The ones who are supposed to hold it together in society, and I listen. And I get why that feels that way. Because when you're the one getting dragged through the court, after you're the one making the application, being accused of things that you know you haven't done, watching your kids slowly drift out of your hands, it feels like you're being held to a higher standard or higher regard, like you're expected to just, I don't know, take it, stay calm, stay quiet, and don't react. Don't raise your voice, don't defend yourself too strongly, because now you look aggressive. Meanwhile, the other side can cry, shout, panic, and it's called distress. You do it, and it's called risk. So yeah, it's easy to think, well, we're being treated differently because we're better. But here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not about superiority. It's about perception. Family court isn't sitting there thinking, yeah, men are stronger, so let's test them. They're thinking, where is the least risk to the child? And the risk is in judged on behavior, not fairness. That's the bit no one wants to hear, because fairness would say, let's weigh both sides equally, but family court doesn't say that. It says, let's not rock the boat unless we absolutely have to. And if the child is already living with mum, guess what? That is the boat. So the court protects the status quo, not because she's a woman, not because you're a man, but because changing things feels risky. Now, add this on top of society has trained everyone to see men as physically stronger, emotionally tougher, less vulnerable. So when a man loses control, even slightly, it hits harder. A raised voice becomes intimidation. A frustrated message becomes harassment. A reaction becomes a pattern. Not because you're superior, but because people expect you to be in control. And when you're not, they don't just see pain, they see danger. And that's the game. And here's where most men lose it. They walk into court trying to prove they are right, trying to expose lies, trying to fight for fairness. And the whole time, the court isn't asking who's right, it's asking who feels safest. And that's it. So while you're trying to win the argument, you're losing the perception. And perception is everything in that room. So no, it's not about being superior, although it's a nice thought, because that mindset, that'll sink you. A judge even hears a hint of that, and then I'll say, this man lacks insight, and it's game over. But here's the twist most people miss. That same system that feels stacked against you can actually work for you if you understand it. Because if you become calm under pressure, measured in your words, consistent in your behavior, completely child-focused, selfless, you don't look weak, you look safe. And in family court, safe wins every time. So forget this idea of superiority, although it's nice to feel that way. It's not about being above anyone. It's about being the one person in that room who cannot be shaken, cannot be provoked, and cannot be painted as a risk. And that's how you win, not by fighting harder, but by becoming the man they can't argue against.